Famcast Media, bitch.
So we finally have some justice now. Long time no see, demons and demonesses. No, it's been a couple months, actually. No use in apologizing for the long hiatus, because it's something that I've been doing for a lot of times. It's like every time I think, I can do, a consistent upload schedule. Here we go, throwing a wrench right into those plans. That's pretty much all I've been doing, just been working and grinding, taking care of things. I know my office looks a lot different. Just been moving some things around, unpacking, cleaning up, tidying up. Just want to start out fresh and whatnot. But today I wanted to talk to you guys about a case that had happened about a year ago, right during the beginning of my absence. It's a case involving a woman named Brianna Ghey. Now, for those that know how the criminal justice system in, England works, it could be hit or miss. Most time more than not, it's usually a miss. And you always have, light sentences for, certain crimes. But this one is very surprising. I have the article right here. I'm going to read it for you guys. So the headline reads, "Killer kid sentenced to 20 years in prison for murder of trans girl Brianna Ghey." The two 16-year-old convicted murderers of a transgender teenager in northwest England nearly a year ago were handed minimum sentences on Friday of 20 and 22 years. My word, 20 and 22 years, that's the minimum. I'm actually very surprised about this. Justice Amanda Yip lifted the reporting restrictions on naming the killers of 16-year-old Brianna Ghey. They were identified at Manchester Crown Court as Scarlett Jenkinson and Eddie Ratcliffe. The horrific murder shocked the nation. Ghey was stabbed with a hunting knife 28 times in her neck, head, chest, and back in broad daylight after being lured to a park in the town of Warrington on February 11th, 2023. Yip handed Ratcliffe and Jenkinson a mandatory life sentence and ordered them to serve a minimum of 20 and 22 years respectively before they could be eligible for parole. If they had been adults over the age of 18, they would have faced much longer minimum terms. They will be transferred to adult prisons when they turn 18. You would only be released if in the future it is decided you no longer present a danger, the judge said. You both took part in a brutal and planned murder, which was sadistic in nature, and as secondary motivation was hostility to Brianna because of her transgender identity. Neither had been named during the trial, which concluded in December. Under English law, young offenders are usually granted the protection of restrictions that prevent them from being named until they turn 18. Jenkinson and Ratcliffe were previously known as Girl X and Boy Y, having been 15 at the time of the killing. However, Yip said after they were found guilty last month, there was a strong public interest in the full unrestricted reporting of what is plainly an exceptional case. Lawyers for the two argued that naming them would have ramifications for their welfare. The judge sentenced the pair after hearing victim impact statements from Ghey's family and experts. In a statement to the court, Ghey's father, Peter Spooner, said being the father of a transgender child, Brianna was previously known as Brett, had been a difficult thing to deal with, but that he had been proud to gain another beautiful daughter. After we were forming a new relationship and these two murderers have stolen that from both of us, he said. Justice may have been done with the guilty verdicts, but no amount of time spent in prison will be enough for these monsters. Ratcliffe and Jenkinson had denied killing Ghey and blamed each other for the fatal stabbing. It's not known which one, if both, wielded the knife. Neither had been in trouble with police before. The two were found guilty by a jury last month following a 4-week trial. The trial heard the pair were intelligent and had a fascination with violence, torture, and serial killers. They had planned the attack for weeks, detailed in a handwritten plan and phone messages found by detectives. They also had discussed killing others, which had prompted police to rule out transphobia as the motive behind Brianna's murder early on in the investigation. Prosecutor Diana here had read a statement to the court from Ghey's mother, Esther Ghey, in which she said the hardest thing to come to terms with was finding out that one of those charged with her child's murder, Jenkinson, was someone she thought was her daughter's friend. She said she was pleased when Brianna Ghey sent a text message on the day of her death saying she was going to meet a friend. I thought that she would have a wonderful time hanging out with her friend and getting some fresh air, when all that time she was being lured to her death. All I could think about is that she would have been scared and I wasn't there for her. She needed me to protect her. Brianna wasn't a fighter and she must have been so terrified, she said. Now, as for me, I'm happy about, the outcome of this sentencing. It's sad that, Brianna had to lose her life. And what's even more shocking is that this is more of a case of betrayal. And the sad thing about betrayal is that it never comes from your enemies. Never comes from your enemies. It always comes from the people that you think are your friends. And, it's really sad that, these people had to betray her like that, stab her multiple times, 28 times with a bloody knife. All because they wanted to be the next serial killer doer. Now, based on what the police report said, they said that, that she wasn't targeted for being transgender, which, even so, it still would be wrong even if she was. But the fact that, all three of these kids were 16 years old, both the killers and the victim herself. And, it seemed like she had a very supportive family. Her mother loved her, her father loved her, they affirmed her gender, they accepted her exactly as she was. And then to have her, snuffed out like this, it's really refreshing to know that they'll be spending at least 20 years each in prison. I think the woman, what was her name? I think Jenkinson got 22 years, and the reason why she got an extra 2 years tacked on is because they believe she was the ringleader. So this was all her idea, she planned it out and everything, and then what's even funny is the fact that they both tried to blame each other for this. And it's always, when you have these duo killer couples, that always, whenever one of them is accused, they always try to blame the other one just so they can get less time in prison. But, thankfully, these two probably won't see, the light of day until they're at least in their late 30s. And that's if they behave themselves while they're in prison. If they act up in prison, they're going to get more time added onto this sentence. And like I said, I'm very surprised that it was 20 and 22 years because, last time, I reported on a case that happened in England. It was about a gay man that was murdered. I think this was a couple years ago. A gay man was murdered by 3 teenage kids. And they only got I think the killers only got 3 years each in prison. And this was this in fact was a targeted hate crime. So, when I first heard about this case back in February of last year, I was thinking, this is going to suck. They're probably going to get a light slap on the wrist because, the criminal justice system in England is very, very broken. I mean, I thought things were fucked up here in the United States, but apparently in other parts of the world, they're just as fucked up as we are. But, glad to know that these monsters are locked up where they fucking belong. To the family of Brianna Ghey, I send you my condolences. Rest in peace. Brianna might be gone, but she won't be forgotten. I think her TikTok account is still up. I don't know the actual handle of it, but if you search up Brianna Ghey, you can probably find a few things. Lots of people have reposted her videos. So her legacy will continue to live on TikTok, despite the fact that she's no longer with us right now. But that's pretty much all I have to say about this. It's just a quick story, a little update on what's going on with this case. still in all, doesn't matter how many years they get in prison, that's not going to bring her back. And, it's not going to heal the pain that the mother and father are facing losing their daughter. But that's pretty much all I have to say. You guys stay safe, stay metal, hail Satan, and I'll catch you guys in the next episode.
Supposed to do